Sorry about the wind in the video today. It's about 70 degrees, 72, but the clouds are rolling in and they're expecting severe weather tonight, possible some tornadoes and hail. So praying that God would steer all that stuff away or just disintegrate the whole thing into nothing. We don't need that to be coming around here right now. That's all we got today. Enjoy the video. Thanks. Hello folks. As usual, I forgot my tripod, so I'm going to have to do this as best I can. Remember I had talked up in the last video about how to cut the cable easier? Well, today I'm going to put it to the test. I cut myself a small piece of cable right there, and the contestants are the cable cutter sent to me by Cable Bullet, the DeWalt cutoff saw or cutoff grinder, however you want to phrase that, and the DeWalt reciprocating saw. One of my short videos from a few months back showed me cutting that aluminum cable for the house wiring with the reciprocating saw, and it went pretty good. So I'm going to see if it will do the same thing on this cable. I'm not sure what the diameter is on it. It's not real thick, maybe, I don't know, 3/16 or something like that. But this is not going to be easy because, like I said, I forgot my tripod. So the first contestant will be the cable cutter, which is basically just a crimp. And as I told you in the last video, when you crimp it, it tends to smash the cable a little bit too much. So okay, we got it in the jaws here, using the deck for leverage, pushing, 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 cutting. As you can see, there's a strand there, a strand there. It looks like it all unwound. There's pieces up over there. There's one down there. Let's see what the end of the cable looks like. Okay, the end of the cable looks like this. Let's see if we can get it to focus here. There we go. Like I had said before, it kind of causes the cable to want to unwind a little bit. So I really don't like the cable cutter because of that right there. Next, we will try the cutoff. And I'm going to pick up these pieces real quick before I lose them. So on that initial cut with the cable cutter, 6 strands of cable separated, and then one larger piece that stayed wound. Now, to be fair, I'm cutting off the very end, so that makes a little bit of a difference, but it still tends to crush the cable before it actually slices through it. So I had to reverse my camera since I don't have a tripod, but the next cut will be with cutoff saw. As you can see, it's a little bit hard to keep in place. Kind of wanted to slip out of the groove a little bit there. You don't really get a clean cut because it's more like it's melting through it. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but the ends are all burnt on the cables. And you also probably saw it glowing red hot as it was trying to get through. So it does work, but it's still rather primitive. It's faster than, well, I should say it's easier than cutting through with the cable cutter. So the final one is the reciprocator. I might have to back up a little because this is so big. Here we go. Yep, that's a total fail on that one. If I kept going, I'm going to have pieces like this flying all over the place. The only way that could be used is if there's a way to crimp this into a vise or something, because it just starts reciprocating along with the saw. So I didn't hardly get anywhere. There's just like a divot in the cable, but it's not actually cutting through it. So I don't know. The easiest one is definitely the cable cutter. If there was a way to hold it more steady, I think the cutoff saw would probably work better. I'm going to give that one more try now that it's set up differently here. Yes. Yeah, that's just all these wireless tools. They just make a big mess out of this because it's such a small gauge wire. So this one, the wires flew everywhere and it just started tearing the heck out of the cable. So I guess I'll just have to put up with the cable cutters and live with whatever the results are and work around that. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Do you all want to have a look at my primitive invention for cutting cable when you're by yourself? I take my little DeWalt clamp and clamp the end of the cable to the end of the tape measure and tape my clamp to the cardboard box. I just run my cable inside the channel of the tape measure all the way down, all the way down. And then I tape my tape measure to my little workbench to hold that straight. And then I can stretch my cable and mark it at 99 inches. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? See you later. So here's the next step in the process. We crimped our cable in the end. Preceded that by putting in the little adjustment tab that stops right up against the crimp. And now what you do is you take that whole setup and you stick it right into the bullet. Line up your little adjustment tab with the slot. Push it in there. Right in there. And then you grab your little hex screw, screw it up into the little hole in the bullet, and that pushes against that little tab, causing tension on the cable. So first you do this end, you thread it through, and then you do the other end, and then tighten it all up. I also have to put a dab of lubricant in there before I put the Allen screw in. Threaded my Allen screw into the bullet. String it down until it's about flush with the bullet, so it doesn't back its way out of there somehow. Take your other end, 3 here. Put it through the 3 of the center post. You should end up with about 3/4 to an inch of extra cable when it reaches the other side. So that's really good. That's how that's done. So it was decided we need a sub panel in this place. So our wonderful electrician put in a sub panel for us. That should make things a little bit easier. So we got electricity running all over this thing. So I'm going to take you outside and show you what he did outside. I don't know if I ever shared the whole story about the first electrician that we hired, who turned out to be not very good. The other day I was running the miter saw outside to cut those metal railings, and my electrician was working up here on the sub panel, and he said a big old spark came flying out from inside of that outlet when I fired up the saw outside. He took it apart, and it turned out the guy never hooked up the neutral wire. The screws were still loose on it, and the wire had come off inside of the box. And I'll show you outside what we had problems with the first guy also. So I just wanted to show what's going on in the garage real quick on my way outside. Our fantastic electrician is putting in conduit along the steel frame structure and adding outlet boxes for the hanging lights that we'll have in here. We're going to have 4 of them. There's 2, 3, and 4. And then he's running the conduit down the walls to the other side of the building, putting outlets in over here. He's got one up there for the garage door opener. But I went to Amazon to look for lights. I found this chart that recommended what size lights to use. I think these are like 328 watts or something like that. And according to the calculation chart that I found, 4 of those should light up this garage pretty good. That's it. Let's go outside. This will be the first time that I'm looking at this, so first time for YouTube. So when we first had this hooked up by the other electrician, this pipe right here that I put in the ground, the guy ended up putting it on an angle like this, coming out of the ground. And I told him over and over that I had stones down there bracing it temporarily, that he could remove the stones and move this pipe so it was plumb, whatever he had to do to get it right. Well, he decided not to do any of that, put it up crooked, had the box inside crooked. So I actually had to have this guy that we have now redo everything that we already paid for from this other guy. So he ended up putting a nice box on, putting a nice straight perpendicular to the ground pipe on it, and it looks 100% better than what it did before. It's a shame that you pay somebody to do work and you gotta hire someone else to come in and fix it. But another day at the Barndominium, and that's what life's all about. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.